XFL Weekly Reports.
Hello! Welcome back to the show about nothing, everything, and anything in between.
Yes.
It's our Football Friday here on the ankZONE show.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about Week 2.
Yeah.
Some other things are going around the league.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Brian, how's it going?
It's going good, B. How are you?
I'm doing good. I got my DC Defender stuff on.
Yeah.
Came in the mail over the week.
Yeah, you were nice enough to lend me your, was it the Roughnecks here?
Yeah, the Roughnecks from Houston. And then we got the towel that they gave away at the Seattle game.
Ooh, Seattle terrible towels. No,
Yeah.
much better than the damn Pittsburgh one.
Yes,
sure.
agreed.
Yeah.
100% agreed.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go with the standings after Week 2.
Okay.
So we got 2 undefeated teams.
Yep. And rightfully so.
Yep.
Yeah,
They're
powerhouses.
doing a little better than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Defenders on top of the East.
Steamrolling people right now.
Yeah, their defense is pretty tough. They're
Yeah.
giving up the least amount of touchdowns, and they scored the second most amount of touchdowns.
Yeah, definitely the toughest defense by far. Defense is carrying it. They did all the defensive. Most of it was defensive scoring for crying out loud. I mean, yeah.
There's a bunch of good games over the weekend, but the Battlehawks.
Loving them.
They look solid. They almost pulled it out there.
Almost. I'm loving it. I'm starting to like them, B. I'm starting to like them. I came this close. If the hat was in stock, I would have bought it this week.
The St. Louis, though.
I know. But they're a scrappy team, man. They don't have a lot of talent. They're nothing special, but they're scrappy, man. I like that. I like
what we
that.
say about the Cardinals.
Huh?
No,
The Cardinals are the dirty birds. They suck.
Yeah, see? But they're scrappy, and they got nobody.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, then you get the Guardians at 1-1, and then the Vipers at 0-2.
Oh, the Point Vipers! I tell you, they may not survive this season.
Yeah, they did go out and make a bunch of transactions. I guess try to start to get better. They obviously know that stuff needs to change.
Yeah,
but they're definitely the weakest team in the league by far.
I think they're going to be the weakest team, period. Like in fan base and everything. If they don't.
Yeah, I mean they've scored 1 touchdown so far.
Yeah, they need a big name player or something to draw to that team because there's not much to work with.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Yeah.
You got the West. You got the Roughnecks, 2-0.
Roughnecks, that PJ Walker, is it? Or he's pretty. He's something special.
Yep.
Yeah. He's.
They thought he didn't have what it took to make it in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he is making this league look like it's playground.
He's the XFL's Mahomes right now.
Oh yes, he definitely is.
Yeah.
So that throw he did was sidearmed.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet, dude. Yeah, he's We'll talk about his touchdowns later, I know, but he's just fantastic.
And he's part of the reason him and Cam Phillips part of the reason why it's hard for me to pick between the Roughnecks and the Defenders.
Like,
those are my 2 teams. You know me, I always pick an East Coast and West Coast team.
Sure.
And everything it's like with the NFL, I take the Bengals because they're local, and then I take the Seahawks.
Right.
And then in baseball, I take the Reds and the Dodgers.
Still the Dodgers. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
So, like this one, that's what I was like, no, I'll take an East Coast and West Coast.
Yeah.
Even though there's only 8 teams, though, it seems kind of weird. I'm picking a quarter of the teams.
Yeah.
But, so the Defenders and the Roughnecks are my 2 teams. And
those are your teams, okay.
My 2 teams.
I'm definitely leaning... I'm leaning
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
So
I'm
that's
leaning
good.
Battlehawks.
That's 3 of the 8 teams that'll be...
That's also the top 3 in the power rankings, I believe, as well.
It is. Yeah. Definitely the 3 of the top in the power rankings.
Yeah.
The running game that the Battlehawks have is just unreal.
Yeah, it is.
They get the Dragons at 1-1, the Renegades at 1-1,
mm-hmm.
and the Wildcats at 0-2. Now the Wildcats have looked better in their games.
Yes, they at least have.
The Dragons have, and the Renegades. They're just coming up just a bit short.
Yeah, what I like about the Dragons is their fan base. They seem to have a very
that Seattle does
crazy fan base. But yeah, LA looks like they have more talent. Their quarterback looks better. His throws look better. They're just not. They're not finishing the game, or they're not competing well in the game.
It's just like they have that. They can get right to that, but they just can't push through.
Yeah, I had a hard time watching their game. That game was I don't know. It didn't interest me. I have a hard time with. You would think with LA, I don't know. I just thought it would be better team, but so far, record indicates otherwise. We'll see. They might be one of those teams that just goes on a tear in the middle of the season. We'll see. Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's 8 games left. So I mean, they definitely can make up ground. It's not.
Any of these teams could.
Wow.
The Vipers may be the only one.
Vipers probably can't make up that much ground. But
they're the Browns
we'll
of the league.
Yeah. All right. So along with that, I put together a little chart for you. You were mentioning PJ Walker.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. There we go.
Okay, so there's your touchdowns for the XFL.
Now that's per team.
That's based on team, right? So like Cam Phillips will be on there. He's got 3.
Yep.
Right, but he's got 5. Right.
Right.
But PJ Walker's the one to throw it to him.
Right.
So PJ Walker has 7. The Defenders have 7. The Battlehawks have 6. The Dragons have 5. I mean, like, it is crazy.
Team totals versus PJ Walker alone.
PJ Walker has as many other teams in the league. It's hilarious.
Yeah, he's very dynamic. He can run. He does the sidearm pass.
He reminds me of he's like a combination of Lamar Jackson and Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, he sees the field very well.
He's very. He had one play where he scrambled, and the guy grabbed the back of his jersey, and he just went under it. He came back up, stopped like he was going to throw. It looked like perfect form. Mm-hmm. The next guy comes in, he backs up, goes around him. I was like, oh my gosh. It's like playing video games.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because he feels like he has no tomorrow. Maybe that he's one of those dangerous guys because of that. Or he's just
trying to make a name for himself.
Yeah, he's really trying to make a name for himself.
That's what they were saying. They said if he continues this the rest of this, he'll sign as
somebody,
a backup.
Somebody will pick him up.
He'll sign as a backup in the NFL.
In the NFL, no doubt. It's just too good not to take a chance on something like that, especially if it's just your backup. I mean, shit.
Right, exactly.
Right.
All right, so let's go to this. So last week, I put up a map last week.
Yep.
That had where everybody was playing.
Mm-hmm.
You remember? It looked like this.
Yep.
Let's see.
And I remember.
It looked like this.
Yeah, I remember saying, look, you can kind of draw a line between the West and the East.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, this came out.
There you go.
Okay, so
there's my line.
There's your line.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So your East and your West. Mm-hmm. And then also underneath these, it has a list of all the places that they're playing. So like the Dragons are playing in CenturyLink Field, which is Seattle.
Seattle, right.
Dignity Health Sports Park out in L.A., which is
never even heard of it.
It's a sports complex. They play like college football and stuff there.
Okay.
Globe Life Park in Dallas is another non-NFL stadium. Like it's not big enough for that, but it's still a fairly big place.
Okay.
The Toke TDECU Stadium. That's actually a college.
I was gonna say that sounds like a college.
Okay,
yeah.
It actually is a college, and it was funny because they had it's the University of Houston, and so at the place they were selling all their like alcohol and drinks for the game.
Yeah,
the guy was holding up his University of Houston, and he was showing where he was at. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
The Battlehawks are playing in the Dome.
Yeah, the old Dome where the Chargers, or not the Chargers, but the Rams. What am I saying?
I know.
Wow.
Warner the Rams. Well, anyway, they sold out the lower bowl.
I believe it.
I believe they want to say it was somewhere around the neighborhood of 18,000 seats.
Yeah.
For their home opener.
Yeah, and Keem Nicks is one of their coaches.
They really want him to stick around.
Yep.
I mean him.
Akeem.
They really want this team to stick around. They're a big sports town. I mean, they are.
Oh yeah. I mean, they've supported an NFL team before. It wouldn't be.
And it's funny because when I went out there, I had to go out to St. Louis for a job. I had to go out there.
Yeah.
And that weekend that I was out there, my hotel was actually like 4 doors up from their practice facility.
Oh really?
The Rams practice.
The Rams,
facility.
yeah.
And it was like right after they had left. I was like, man, I wonder what's going to go in here.
There.
Maybe the Battle Cats.
Maybe. Look at that.
The Battlehawks.
The Battlehawks are, like I said, I don't know. Maybe that's the team I'm going to root for. They've got former Bengals coaches. Not that I was in love with those coaches, but it's starting to feel.
It does have that little bit of connection for you.
Yeah, it does have a connection, and they're good, scrappy good, but good.
And then the Vipers are playing at Raymond James Stadium.
Yep.
So they're playing under with Tampa Bay.
Right.
So they have two crappy teams.
I still don't know, why would you be the Vipers if you have that pirate ship in that stadium? I don't know. I would take advantage. I would work out something with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and be the privateers.
Yeah.
Something.
You think it'd be something because they have cannons and everything else down there.
Yeah.
Like, why would you take a big Now, I do know that in Seattle, the big thing for the games is, for the Seahawks anyway, is to raise the flag, the 12th-man flag.
The 12th-man flag.
So they have celebrities come in and everybody else, and war heroes and stuff like that. They'll come out and raise the flag. For the Dragons, they have the
torch, which is cool.
So they're lighting the torch.
Yeah.
So Steve Largent,
the
former Seahawk, was the one that lit it for their first home game.
I was really expecting. I was kind of expecting him to make a bigger deal. He didn't do too much with it. He just like here. I was like, come on, get out there and go, something cool with it. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, so that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
The Defenders.
Yep.
Playing at Audi Field, which is a soccer stadium.
Okay, well, and makes sense.
And they filled it for the most part.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people are saying about these other teams. They're saying, you always have the Homer fan base who instantly, as soon as one thing starts, they say, where are we expanding to?
Yeah.
And obviously, they're going to want to put a foundation in first before they go and do that. But like one of the places they're talking about is Columbus.
Columbus would be a great town,
right? And they said, well,
you get Cincinnati fans, Cleveland fans.
They said, would they play at the Shoe?
Ohio State fans.
Ohio State. Will they play at the Shoe? Mm-hmm. No, they probably play at Columbus Crew, which is another soccer stadium.
Yeah.
Which is fairly big.
Big enough to have their own.
Big enough, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm surprised that any of the NFL stadiums is helping out the XFL this year. To be honest with you,
it is kind of odd.
Yeah.
Like why? Because I don't think they thought of them as a competition.
They're really not yet, but they could be.
Well, I tell you who they are is the CFL, the Canadian Football League.
Yeah.
And people are getting pissed because all of a sudden that practice squad is signing players from the stars, not just players. They're signing stars from the CFL to come over
because they want to be part of the NFL. Yeah,
exactly. Because they're like, wow, that's a big stage. Their games are already on TV. Mm-hmm. Canadian football is never on.
Right.
And they're like, I'm going to go over there and play.
Which I've never understood for Canadian football. You'd think they'd want to touch the American market just a little bit, even with the northern cities or something. But
but you never see it.
No, they've never taken advantage of it. Now,
anyway,
that's
the
deal
last team, and probably the least fun team, which is surprising me because you would think that the East Coast would love this team.
Yeah.
The Guardians, they look like gargoyles.
Yeah, I like the idea. I like the name. The team definitely ran into a roadblock this week. I was expecting a lot better game.
Well, I tell you what, some of these teams have problems at quarterback, but none more so than the Guardians.
It's true, and I tell you, the Defenders took full advantage of it, and they wiped the floor with them.
Shut them out. First shutout.
Yeah.
First shutout in the XFL. I just couldn't. I can't believe that. And I'm all for talking to the players and being right there, like get their instant reaction.
Yeah.
How was it scoring that touchdown? Blah, 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 blah. But did you catch the interview that they did right after that first half with the quarterback from the Guardians, the Matt McGloin?
I've got to be honest with you. I fell asleep during this game. That's because they were killing him.
Usually they go, what's going on? Oh, we got to do some things better on defense, and but we're still in the blah blah blah. They interviewed the quarterback, it's the coach, McGloin, and he said, we're playing awful. We need to change everything. Whole entire game plan needs to change because this is not blah blah blah. This is the worst game I've ever been a part of in my life.
Ouch.
Like
some things you should not say.
Yeah, that's what the quarterback is saying going into halftime, and it's like, oh, there's a reason why you interview the head coach going into halftime because he's still looking at it from an outside perspective. He's not like,
we're getting
our teeth kicked in.
Yeah, I agree with that, but even still, why from a PR standpoint, and wow, there's somebody that has no professional
it's not
tact about it.
Well, I think it was because he came out later and he talked kind of semi calmer. I think it was just because he was in the midst. It's that emotion. They're in that game right now.
He's mad.
Yeah, it's like when you're playing video games. And you lose a round, you're like, yeah, playing like crap. You throw remotes or whatever.
Yeah, it's one thing though to. I mean, I appreciate that kind of passion, but it's one thing to do that with an established team that's been around for a while. It's another with the second game and its history.
Yeah, well, I have quotes here from a couple people, and you can just hear it, and you're like, yeah, you can definitely tell he's calling out his quarterback. Well, the head coach is calling out his quarterback.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. So anyway, based on the first 2 weeks of the year, based on social media posts, based on merchandise purchases and things of that nature, they came out with the fan base. Like originally, they had the fan bases basically giant circles around each
city.
Right, and the Guardians had the whole entire
East
like from
Coast.
New York up.
Northeast, yeah.
Yeah, and then the Defenders basically had the whole East Coast. St. Louis took the middle. I mean, it was fairly even.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So here it is after week 2.
Wow. I mean, I expect this to change quite a bit going forward. I mean, we're only in week 2, but still, it's interesting.
It's obviously going to change because the only things that are probably going to stay exactly the same or right around where the cities are, because everybody else doesn't have a city to choose from. Right. So they're still floating, trying to pick their
team.
Right.
Yeah, but I think this represents, though, definitely the top 3 really, really well. Again, and the top 3 were the Defenders were 1, I believe, followed by the Roughnecks being 2, and then the Battlehawks were 3. And then the map reflects that pretty well.
So you can see the Defenders are on the whole East Coast, New York.
Yep, they're in white.
And part of the West. Part of the West out there.
Yep.
The white area there.
Yep.
Down towards the Battlehawks are all the blue area.
Yep.
The Roughnecks are kind of split from southern Texas, and then
that's interesting. Honestly, that's
Texas.
a very strange, and how the Defenders are way out west is interesting too.
And I guess it's just the way
people picking the strongest teams.
Yeah,
I guess
you got Alaska. I'm sure there's 12 people up there watching. And they're picking
from their igloos.
Yeah. So it's funny because if they would have taken if the Dragons would have taken Maine, they would have taken the 4 corners.
What I want to
feels like they didn't map the 4 corners.
I want to know what's the connection to Dallas in Hawaii. That's what I want to know.
Oh, I have no idea. Maybe I do.
Is there Samoans playing on that team or something? Or what's going on?
But the Samoan quarterback is the one playing for the Battlehawks.
That's right. I forgot about that. Wow.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that at all.
I don't know.
But this will change. I mean, it's going to change.
It'll be a constantly changing graphic.
But it's interesting to see, though. I mean, other than the Battlehawks are geographic. The Defenders are geographic for the most part, except for the whole West Coast thing.
The Vipers,
and then the piss poor Vipers. The Vipers with no teeth. And I like how the Dragons have Florida now too. And then the biggest surprise for this, if I'm looking at this, is the Gargoyles.
Yeah, with that little bit, the red.
Yeah, okay. So you own New York City, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
And Long Island, I guess.
All right, let's get into some games.
Yeah.
Games week 2.
Sure.
So like the LA game you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
They see how they were close. They were within winning the score.
Mm-hmm. This was whatchamacallit's debut, if I remember right.
Yeah,
right?
Landry Jones,
which didn't have a great game.
Yeah, he did.
I mean,
so he hasn't played in 2 years.
Yeah, but he had 2 interceptions. But yeah,
but he threw for 305 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah,
and a lot of his throws, he had a lot more throws, 40 attempts, and I would say he only completed 28 of them. I would say another 10 of them, looked like rust. Like you could just tell, like when he was throwing, he was missing the guy by like 2 or 3 inches. Like it was one of those just like his adrenaline was pumping and he was just overthrowing.
I think him and his wide receivers weren't always on the same page in this game either. I do remember bits and pieces of this game.
Right, so. But you know who did stand out is Curtis Artis-Payne, former Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah.
Ran for almost 100 yards, 99 yards.
Yeah, that was the strength of their
2 touchdowns.
Their defense as well.
Yeah, their running game is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Their backup, Dunbar, had 42 yards on 6 carries.
Yeah.
So they're not doing too bad. LA, I'm still trying to find. They don't have a.
They look so much better in week 1. This was another team that kind of just took a not as bad as the Gargoyle or the whatever they are, New York
Guardians.
Mm-hmm. I keep wanting to call them the Gargoyles, the Guardians. But yeah, they just didn't look as good in week 2. They were a little bit more.
Yeah, they came out flat.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's go with
the blowout.
The blowout. So passing yardage. The backup had 51 yards, and the starter had 44 yards passing. Their running back had 39 yards rushing. I mean, it was just an up and down. DC just blew them away.
DC defense was this whole game. I mean, there was a little bit of offense, but I mean, they almost had a pair of 100-yard receivers. Yeah.
So they're not shabby.
Not
by any means.
shabby, yeah, but they're not.
But it was one of those. It was one of those things. Remember, like John Kitna.
Yeah.
He didn't have to get him to the Super Bowl, but he was quarterback enough to get Baltimore in there.
This is one of those teams in the NFL, like the NFL. You just need a good quarterback game manager, and then the defense will win the rest for you.
Right. So like Cardell Jones, former Ohio State.
Yeah, Cardell. Yeah,
he threw for 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick.
Yeah. There's a lot of Ohio State fans going nuts, I'm sure.
Oh,
looking
definitely.
At watching this.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the reason why their fan base is so, for the Defenders, is so far in towards like Cincinnati and everything, is because of the Ohio State connection there. Now it's funny because Cardell Jones, they posted something on one of those Facebook pages. I tried to join as many of the XFL pages as I could, just to kind of get the vibe from each of the fan bases. And on the DC Defenders one, they said Cardell Jones hasn't lost since high school. He was 11-0 at Ohio State. Yeah. And now he's 2-0 here in the XFL. I thought it was pretty funny.
Asterisk.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah.
Pretty funny stat. Now the guy down in the bottom corner that you see there is the head coach, Pep Johnson.
Pep Johnson, yeah. He's kind of colorful. He's kind of funny.
He's very colorful, and he's very player friendly. And always is looks he's angry or not on the sidelines. He's always having a good time.
Yeah.
And I think that comes across in the team. The team has fun when they're playing.
Yeah.
So I think it's a big thing.
I don't think he pulls any punches either when he talks, especially when he talks to the media. Even he doesn't really say a whole lot, but I mean he says a lot more than most professional coaches will. I guess.
Okay.
What I'm saying.
All right. So let's go to Seattle. First home game. The Vipers came in.
Love the vibe of this game, dude.
That fan base.
Yeah. It impressed me.
I love them for Seattle. I love them for the Seahawks, and it's basically you use the same people going to this, and they get into it.
Yeah.
And like I put the one guy up. We had this mohawk. It's typically it's usually done in the Seahawks colors.
Yeah. This time
he did it in the Dragons colors.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people there with their looked like usual Seattle garb, but it was done up with the Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
That is one fan base, man. That's one of the biggest things that when I was, it was like, what, like nine years ago.
Why when you picked up the Seahawks?
I picked up the Seahawks.
Yeah, I guess it was about the time they brought in whatchamacallit for quarterback.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's one of my biggest draws to that market, because I was like, was the fan base. They weren't overly obnoxious.
Yeah.
But they enjoyed the game.
They're having fun.
Yeah, they weren't taunting the other team.
Yeah.
They weren't taunting their fans team.
Yeah.
It was just more of a for love of the game, like the XFL does.
Well, again, I mean, hats off to, and I've said this before about the stadium up there. It's built for sound, and it pays off.
Oh, and it's right into the bay too.
Yeah, so it pays off for the Dragons too, because I think it was only half filled, and it sounded like a full NFL stadium at times.
Oh yeah, well they actually sold 10,000 season tickets.
I believe that.
10,000 season tickets.
Why not get drunk and watch a team play football and go crazy?
I mean, that is such a sports town.
I'm sure they're cheap right now. I mean,
but to get it's funny because like they've never played before,
mm-hmm.
and you have and they hadn't ever had 10,000 season tickets sold.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy.
As long as they keep playing, as long as the NFL lets them keep playing in that stadium, it'll be fantastic. Like I said, they were. I mean, it was half full. They were cheering, and it was so loud that the other team was messing up. They were getting false start calls because they couldn't do the cadence.
Yeah, and it was great, and they call it the Dragon Lair.
Yeah, it was just a cool name.
The Dragon Lair, instead of Legion of Boom.
Right.
All right, but Silvers again.
Yeah,
that's another team that has a quarterback issue.
They could definitely do better, or he could do a lot better. He's got a lot of weapons. He's got some weapons behind him.
Well, I'm curious to see when they start pulling the trigger on these quarterbacks, because it is the highest paid position. It's not like the other positions on the team,
right?
So it is a higher paid position. So I wonder when they're make a change and go with someone else.
I don't know
that, but between them,
the wide receivers are pretty spread apart. 45 yards. 27 yards. Or I'm sorry, that's rushing. Forgive me.
Oh yeah.
So they don't have a solid rusher, I guess.
Yeah, they don't have a solid rushing team. They're like the three-headed monster.
Right.
But they do have Reynolds. Now he's the same guy the last week. We got well over 100 yards.
Yeah.
And then again this week, 8 more, three catches for 87 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I know he came in late, like it was like non-existent in the first half.
Yeah, and they
finally found him in the
found
second
a way
half,
to get to him.
He broke open on a cut across and scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, it was like, the momentum's changed. The crowd went nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they were doing these plays that they couldn't do before, and it was just like, where was this the whole game?
Yeah, it got better, but it was like I said, I was just impressed with the fan base. I think more than I was the playing in this game, and the Vipers just suck.
Yeah.
I see no I see no silver lining.
No, there wasn't really a silver lining. There wasn't any outstanding player. They kept the running. They did have Patrick, the running back, got 73 yards.
I mean, they tried to. They got that Flowers kid that they keep trying to bring in and out, and I think that might be half their problem. Maybe they should just stick with one quarterback for a while and try to at least establish something. I know that Flowers kid is kind of like a running quarterback sensation, and they can do a Wildcat with him.
Exactly,
and stuff,
the Wildcat, and they're like, this is gonna be an offensive minded league and everything else, and he'll be our double threat, and it's just not coming out.
So far, it has not panned out.
He had 15 yards rushing.
Yeah.
And 18 yards passing.
Yeah, it's really not even worth having him in there at this point. I would put him in as a wide receiver, just leave it, be done with it.
Okay, and then the last game of the week.
This was the best game of the week.
And it was funny because this is the game we chose as the game of the week.
Yeah.
And we said this is gonna be the biggest battle for everybody.
Yeah.
And we actually thought that it was actually going to be a less scoring game than this.
Yeah, I thought it would be much lower.
We thought the defense was going to be.
Yeah,
but 4 points between the St. Louis and Houston game here.
It's a lot of back and forth in this game too.
Tamu, how do you pronounce it?
Yeah, I can't pronounce him yet, and I'm not going to even try. That's how bad it is.
He's the guy you see in the center. He's the quarterback there, the Samoan.
Mm-hmm.
He looks good when he's out there.
Yeah, he does.
He's not a. He doesn't look like he's prone to make mistakes. He reminds me a lot of the guy from Alabama who hurt his hip this past season.
Yeah, I mean he's not flawless. He did have 2 picks, but overall they're a team that there's one of those teams that just does not stop playing. It doesn't matter what they're up against. They keep coming out and they keep knocking on the door and they keep battling it. They're the Battlehawks. And Houston is a damn good team. I mean, we've been talking about PJ Walker all show long, and the fact that they were able to keep pace with them and only lost by 4, I consider that a moral victory, I suppose, against what I think is going to be maybe the championship team of the entire league. Once it's all said and done. Yep. So
I agree. That Tiamau, whatever, he had three passing TDs, 1 rushing TD, and 2 picks.
Yeah.
And then PJ Walker, he had three touchdowns this week, followed up from his 4 touchdowns from last week.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just crazy to watch these guys play and be like, how are these guys not in the NFL?
Yeah, in fact, I was, I think we were even commenting back and forth on this game, and I was like, what do you know, this, because all the other games were okay. The DC game was a blowout, but I remember texting him like, this week 2 seems like it's a step down from week 1, and then we got this game. And I was like, okay, this is the level of play I want to see.
Yeah, like I would like to see this out of every team.
Oh yeah.
Multiple touchdowns, multiple chances going up and down the field,
back and forth. You just never, the suspense of the game was all the way to the final minute of the game, I believe.
Right. All right. So let's go into the preview for next week. Starts tomorrow.
Yep.
Starts tomorrow at 2. You got Houston at the Vipers.
Boom.
Yeah,
Get ready. Unless Tampa Bay finds a way to finally turn it around.
Yeah.
Houston all the way, baby.
Don't see them finding a way. Is that the Vipers' first home game?
I believe it is. So
I guess we'll see.
That's what I'll see. We'll see if home field advantage pays off.
Yeah.
But it would be the biggest upset ever so far for the XFL.
It would definitely be a huge giant upset.
Yeah.
They got Dallas at Seattle.
That'll be a good game.
Landry Jones in his game back, his second game back, I think was going to be even better, more polished. Now Seattle's defense played really well at Seattle.
Yeah.
And they fed off the crowd a lot, so I'm curious to see if that plays in effect again.
I think it's gonna be just as loud. It may even be louder because this Dallas team is better than the last team they played. So,
and then we got the Guardians at St. Louis for the St. Louis's home opener, which is sold out.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to this one.
Sold out to a degree, so like they didn't open the top
section.
Top
so
sections.
far, nobody has.
Yeah, they didn't open the top sections, but they did sell out like 18,000. They were showing on some of the social media stuff. They were showing the bars that were putting up the Battlehawks flags and stuff like that in their bars.
Yeah.
For people to come and watch there. It looks to be like it's going to be a good game. I've seen pictures of the field.
Mm-hmm.
The blue end zones look really cool.
Yeah.
Like solid blue end zones. I really like those.
Yep.
So I see the Battlehawks winning this game.
Mm-hmm.
If McGloin can come out and keep his head on his shoulders, I think it'll be a decent match. Only because of what I watched week 1 with the Guardians. I can't see them falling that bad 2 weeks in a row.
I want to see them rebound. Because I think that I just would like to see another solid team. Maybe a fourth. Like we've been talking about the big 3 so far, and then I think they could be the potential 4th team or 3rd team, depending. But it's going to be a good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a toss-up between them and Dallas. Who takes spot number 4?
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting test for St. Louis to defend their home field for the first time, and then this is going to be against a team that is going to be looking to rebound. It's going to be looking to, and they, even though the Battlehawks lost, it was kind of like I said, a moral victory if you ask me, and it was a good game for them, I think.
Well, it showed that they have no quit.
Right. So we'll see if that carries over. In fact, well, let's talk about DCLA, and then we'll make our picks for the week, I guess.
Okay. So then the last game of the week, which is on FS1 again this week.
Yeah.
Really don't like the fact that all the games are on regular TV
except for the Sunday night game.
The Sunday night games on FS1, but I think there's another thing going on this week.
Yeah, well, they're going to run into a lot of basketball and things like that.
Last week you had the NBA All-Star Game and the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
On Sunday, which we actually got postponed until Monday because of the rain. But so that's why, because we're like, why is it on?
Yeah.
A different channel. That's why. But I think there was another thing going on this Sunday, and it was just like,
they're gonna run into basketball, and eventually, I believe by the end of the season, they'll start running into baseball. So.
Oh yeah. I don't doubt it.
So.
But my only concern with this game, with the DC and LA game, is the fact that much to the effect of, so Jim Zorn, head coach of the Dragons, said. Couldn't be much more excited for players because most of the players never experienced a sport like that in the stadium they can give them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They saw the fans create the atmosphere, and that creation they felt it at home as well. Not out of place at all, and hoping that they can improve. But my thing is, to go along with that, a lot of these guys have never been on that road trip, that West Coast road trip.
Yeah, it could be a big factor.
So they're in the DC, like the East Coast, traveling to the West Coast. They're going to have that jet lag.
Yep.
Are they going to be able to perform in LA?
And it'd be a great great comeback win or big win for LA. Obviously, if they could take down what is right now the number 1 team in the XFL.
Right. In the power rankings, I think it goes DC, Houston, Battlehawks, Dallas,
yeah,
and then Seattle, New York.
Yeah,
LA, and
I believe LA is at the that's at the top of the lower tier. So
yeah,
they would be.
So we'll see how that works. Okay, Brian, what's your game of the week?
Well, I'm going to take the Battlehawks at home, just because I want to see this. I think this is where we see their true colors. I think this is where we see them go up against a thirsty, hungry team that's gonna take on their home turf. So we'll see if they've been a great road team. Let's see how they do against a home team, and I think New York's looking to turn things back around. We'll see after getting their asses kicked by DC.
Okay, well, yeah. I am going to go with the Dallas and Seattle game.
That's a good one.
Only because I think Houston's going to wipe the floor with Tampa Bay, and I think DC is actually going to handle LA quite easily.
Okay.
Because you got the two top teams facing the 2 bottom teams.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't see that being a game of the week matchup.
No.
But I do see the Dallas and Seattle one because, like we said, it's Landry Jones, the second game back.
Sure.
You got Seattle playing at Seattle, so that home field advantage does it really make that big of a difference? Because if it does,
I think it kept them in the game last week.
All of a sudden, Seattle's sitting at 2-1.
Yeah.
Like they're right back at the top.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh.
They're the West Coast powerhouse all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, that's wow.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting, and it's really a do or die for Dallas too. They're 1-1. Is that right?
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, it'll be
and I'll be sitting at wherever I'm watching the game with my my terrible orange towel.
You're gonna fly it, let the towel go.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go, guys. There's our
picks
of the week.
Picks of the week
Rundown.
Yep. Let's go with some of the news around the league.
Okay.
We'll do those first. We got like I was talking about the quote from Matt McGowan.
Okay.
From New York. And
Stupid.
Yes. And he was like worst game I've ever been a part of. Because he got benched.
Yeah.
In the game. This is the worst game I've ever been a part of.
Being a baby.
Yeah.
It's not how you be a leader.
He says at no point in time did I feel like we were going to be successful today.
Yeah, let's just throw your whole entire coaching staff under the bus. Yeah.
So then the head coach got on there, right? And he said one of 2 things happens when you get your butt beat like we did. You either come together or you splinter.
Yeah.
Well, you can see where they're
going.
Where they're going. Let's see what else we got. We had our first double forward pass.
Yes.
So the way that works is you can make a forward pass as long as it's not behind the line of scrimmage. As long as it's behind the line of
scrimmage, it can be forward. Where in the NFL, it has to be backwards.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that actually worked. We got a glimpse into the headset communication.
Yep.
On the DC game, Pepper Hamilton talks into his wide receiver and says, "All right, this one's on you. You can take your horse and take it to the house."
Yep.
Right? And then that same play where he was talking to him,
he took off.
And like he made a huge catch. It was fun to watch. Like it was like you're like,
because you know it's coming.
Yeah. You're like, oh, here it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty neat to watch. Let's see. We got some signings.
Okay.
We got the Vipers making a roster move. They released Mac Brown was their running back.
Yeah.
He was primarily their kick returner. So I guess they're
special teams.
Yeah, they're assessing where they need people. They're like, well, we really don't need them there. We were talking about Team 9, which is what this league has. It doesn't have each division doesn't have a specific practice squad.
Right, it's one central.
Yeah, it's one central practice squad. It's actually in Texas, but it is called Team 9, and then teams can sign players off of that.
Right.
So Team 9 signed a Canadian Football League wide receiver.
He's a big star, right?
And he's a huge star.
Yeah.
Right, so XFL is starting to sign Canadian studs. This isn't the only one they signed, and they're starting to come over. They're like, XFL already has TV contracts, and they're getting exposure. It looks like it's going to be a faster jump from the XFL to the NFL than it is
the CFL to the NFL.
Yeah, because CFL's not even broadcast anymore.
No, yeah, you're gonna get people are gonna start talking, and they're gonna be like, "Gee, I wish my team would sign this guy, or this guy would be a great fit on our team." If and suddenly, that's how the ball starts rolling on Twitter now. And, yep.
All right, so we'll go through here. The Vipers. We already said the Mac Brown released Mac Brown. They also released wide receivers and Tavius
They
Jones.
need to trash their whole team.
Yeah. They traded away the linebacker Corey Toomer to Seattle for one of their wide receivers, Green.
Okay.
And then they also acquired from Team 9 defensive lineman Shane Bowman. So they're trying. Yeah, they're making changes. We'll see how well those changes would go.
Yeah.
Dallas changed their now that Landry Jones is back.
Mm-hmm.
They swapped back out their quarterbacks. So they have reacquired quarterback Eric Dungy, who was the backup. I believe he offers a little something different than Landry Jones does.
Mm-hmm.
And then waived Brogan Roback.
Okay.
Which is more of a Landry Jones style quarterback. So I think it was we wanted one of each.
One style of each.
Yeah, we want one pocket passer, one rushing quarterback. I think that's how they're doing it.
Yeah.
So that was it for the.
I think the Wildcat's about done though. Yeah. It's overplayed
for the rushing.
Yeah.
Let's see what do we want to talk about next. Let's do. We said we talk about overtime.
Yeah. Let's talk about overtime.
Talk about overtime.
It sounds interesting to me.
So overtime. And this is coming off the XFL page. Consists of 5 rounds, staged in alternating play. So like if it was DC versus Houston, DC would get a go at it, then Houston, then DC, then Houston, then DC, then Houston. Okay.
Yeah.
Each team starts at the opponent's 5-yard line.
Yep.
And the offensive team has 1 play to score.
Yes.
Okay. And the team with the most points after the 5 rounds is the winner.
Right.
If a team at some point becomes mathematically eliminated, so it's best of 5.
Right.
If it's mathematically eliminated, then it's over.
Right.
Right. If the teams are tied after 5 rounds,
they go again.
Then they go again until one is leading at the conclusion of a round.
Mm-hmm.
So it could literally go on for forever.
Right. It could go. Then we go round by round, which is kind of like college, except college I think starts at the 20-yard line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to be a much easier scoring. This is almost like a penalty kick situation.
Well, I don't know because sometimes it doesn't show that way because you end up with the defense is so stacked inside those 5 yards.
Oh, sure.
That's hard to get open.
It can be.
So you run into that too.
But okay, I'll give you that. What I like about it is you've got your defense on the field, you have your offense on the field, and both sides are represented equally. And the fact that there's 5, best of 5 to start with, even better. Then you can say, well, we screwed up 1 play. Well, you still had at least 2 more plays probably because they're going to get at least best of 3, right? In any circumstance. So you can't say it's a busted play. Because I hate ties. I can't stand anything that ends in a tie.
Right, that's what they say. Nobody wants a tie.
Yeah, it's just
players
stupid.
don't want to tie, fans don't want to tie, so that's what they're doing this for.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing, the touchdowns and stuff aren't 6 points in overtime.
Yeah, they're like 2. Yeah,
they're 2 points. Which
is fun. Yeah, that way you can justify and go, well, yeah, they were tied and obviously they won by 2, but that's why. It was overtime.
Right.
So.
And then if the
personally, it'd be better if they made it 1 point probably.
Now this is another funny, interesting rule. Mm-hmm. If the defense commits a penalty,
yes, the
offensive team reattempt from 1 yard line.
Yes, so it goes half the distance to the goal.
Any subsequent penalty committed by the defensive team on any subsequent play, including in future rounds,
mm-hmm.
will result in a score awarded to the offensive team.
Oh, a penalty score? I would never do that. I would I would keep inching it towards the goal line. I don't care if it's the 1 centimeter line. I don't like that.
But it's to increase
product. Yeah, get the game over.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's funny because it's like, so if you got an offside, it's like an approachment defense
twice, then they score.
It's automatically up 2 points.
Yeah, I don't like scoring by penalty.
Right. So so then
I didn't know that about it.
Yeah. So if the offensive team commits a pre-snap penalty,
mm-hmm.
ball moved back from the original spot, pursuant to regular rules, and then be replayed attempt. Okay?
Okay.
And if the offensive team commits a post-play penalty going forward, the play is over.
So they lose their attempt.
They lose their attempt.
So two penalties either way results either in a score or loss of opportunity.
Correct.
Okay. Well, at least there's a balance to it, I guess.
And
But I really want to see this play out. Just want to see it play out.
Yeah.
Because it sounds interesting.
And then there's no coin flip.
Yeah.
It's visiting team on offense first, home team on defense.
It's fine because they each get their opportunity. So yeah, why not?
And then defense can't score.
Okay.
So even if it's like a pick six,
Yeah, they can't run it back for
they
a
can't run it
touchdown.
back for a touchdown.
Okay, fair enough.
And then the end zone for overtime will be determined at the 90-minute mark. Now they don't say how. They don't say how it'll be determined. So I don't know if it's gonna be a coin toss or if it's a field conditions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or since this is the XFL and they're doing a lot of stuff for the fan base, for TV, do they do it with whichever end zone looks more full? You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. There was nothing listed on the page about that.
I mean, I guess you could ask what coaches what side of the field looks better. I don't know. I don't know. It would depend on, I guess, field conditions. About that defensive scoring thing, maybe they should make interception or fumble recoveries 2 points. Then I kind of like that idea. That way, at least if you do get an interception, you not just stop their play, but at least you get something, or maybe you just give them 1 point. I don't know, something. But anyway, I'm just thinking out loud in my head. I've been stuck on that ever since you said it. But yeah, I would love to see this play out on television, just to see the whole process, and then I can really fully evaluate. I mean, it sounds interesting. It sounds exciting. It's like I said, to me, it's kind of the equivalent of the penalty kick in a way, in soccer. But yeah, no ties. That's a beautiful thing.
I do. That's one of my favorite things about it is like nobody likes a tie. No fan base likes a tie. Even the team that was losing, they came back to tie it.
Yeah,
they still want to win or loss.
Yeah, what's the point in? It's like you never played the game. It's like, okay, we just played for nothing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't win, we didn't lose, so okay.
Well, I agree.
I just don't. I've never liked it. So
all right, so we got another difference between the college and NFL and XFL. Mm-hmm. College and NFL have three timeouts per half.
Yes.
And XFL only has two 1 minute timeouts per half.
Yeah, which I imagine that might expand as if it gets popular, just from TV timeout perspective and commercials and stuff like that. But right now they kind of just stay on the field. So
right, and then the other thing, there's no instant replays.
Yeah.
There's no coach's challenge.
Right.
Everything comes from upstairs.
Yes.
And they actually show us. I mean, that's one of my favorite parts.
That's the cool thing. Yeah.
They show us the guy with the Xbox controller.
I finally got to see that week 2, and I really liked it.
Yeah, we show the Xbox controller. He's like, nope, let's look at this one. And he's touching the screen. At the touch screen, he pulls it over. He moves it around. He said, no, let's go this one. Mm-hmm. Move it around. He said, no, we got the ball at the 35. Looks like he dropped it.
Call stands. Yeah, you hear him say it.
Call stands. Then you hear the referee. After further review, the play stands. Ball to be placed.
Yeah.
And you can see the interaction that's what's taking place. It's not somebody arbitrary going, let's screw over the New Orleans Saints again.
Well,
we can't see anything there. I mean, they've actually gone back and called these plays, and for the most part are getting them right. Well,
it's like I said last week. I said, it takes away any conspiracy theory that the bookies are trying to rig the game or trying to rig the point spread, or it just takes all that away. It's right there in front of you. It's kind of hard to cheat on that part. So I like it. I love full transparency, and especially when you're making game decisions. Yeah.
Now, the only thing I don't like though is I think although they are showing a lot. And we do get that, and it would be hard to choose between what you're going to hear, what you're not going to hear.
Yeah.
I don't particularly care for the referees who don't know what's getting called and why they threw their flag. When they go, why'd you throw your flag? well, I think there was this on this player.
Right, you need to say indefinitely.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and be bold about it, because otherwise don't throw the fucking
I think
flag.
I think there was pass interference. Did you see anything from your side? Dude, if you threw your flag, you're the one that saw it. You don't throw your flag and then say, hey, did you see anything? And then they go, oh, there was no flag for pass interference. Well, obviously that's what you talked about.
Right.
So somebody saw something. You know, I don't like that, and I also don't like the constant communication with the
coach.
The coach
Calling
that we can hear.
Oh, I don't mind that so much, but
what I think needs to happen is I think the coach needs to either have a buzzer or a hat that has a light on the top on the brim. Okay.
Yeah.
And that when the live broadcast goes into effect, he gets notified that he's doing it. You know what I mean?
I guess, but that might change the game. The idea is to be like you're not there. Like you get to hear it, or you're standing right next to him. That's the idea.
Yeah.
But you're not actually interfering with the game.
And then I guess you know the broadcast teams are also working through it because
Sure.
At one point they said, let's listen to the coaches. And all you hear is because they're both talking at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't pick one out of the other, and you're like,
Yeah.
this is dumb.
Yeah.
Like you're either going to pick the offense and listen to the defense. You can't listen to both, or because you don't know if they're going to go back and forth because
it might be a technology where you offer it as a like a bonus package or something, where if you're a super fan and you really want to hear every call.
Well, and that's what I thought, and that's what I think one of the Zorn from Seattle thought was going to happen was this wasn't something that was going to be all the time.
Yeah,
but it would be something that the fans could check in later and see.
Or if you want to listen to everything, you can. You know, it's like you'd have like an internet login or something, or app login.
Now it would be awesome, like if they did that, and you could pick your team that you want to listen to.
That's what I mean.
Like your entire team.
You're Battlehawk super fan, and you get not only do you get different views, but you get the sounds of the coaches, and you get the full experience.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
That would be something cool for a Sunday Ticket if NFL ever wanted to.
Now the last thing that I want to talk about here, before we go on to where you can find us.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I've noticed with us talking about it, there's not a lot of buzz. Aside from the local cities that these teams are in, you know, there's not a lot of. We don't know a lot of the names.
No.
We don't know how to pronounce the names.
Right.
I think fantasy football would help. I think that if they partnered with they're already partnering with ESPN for the broadcast. So if they partnered with ESPN to do a XFL free fantasy football, at least for the first couple of years, I think you would see a lot more sales in merchandise.
Yeah.
I think you see a lot bigger fan base because people would be like, "Did you see so and so? He did 56 yards this week," and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I think we, as fans, we like that. You know, we do that with baseball.
Yeah.
We follow individual players more so than teams.
Sure.
And I don't know if that's why they're not doing it, and they're just doing it because they want to talk just the teams and not individual players because they want to focus on football first. So far, because they are kind of toying with gambling, which is kind of what fantasy football is.
They got the line. They're given the lines, and that's
like,
interesting. If you're especially if you're a gambler.
Yeah. So they're doing that. They're also doing they partner with DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
Which is another one, like it's a straight gambling 4-player.
Yeah.
It's not a fantasy
football
team.
league.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would do best if they could partner with even like a CBS Sports line, which is probably one of the best websites you can get.
Right.
The problem is you have to pay for it.
Well, that's why I was saying go with ESPN or Yahoo.
Yeah.
Something that was free.
Yeah.
That you could do that would be.
But yeah, I think that would be a great idea. I think if they would partner with. Maybe like Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't know, something where they could create sports fan zones because these are new,
right.
new franchises. And say, hey, if you want to come watch the Battlehawks or watch any XFL, maybe even this is your place to go and try to establish super fans.
Well, I think you're not going to see the restaurants do that until it takes off. Because it means
it's a draw. Maybe.
Yeah, because it's even hard for them. Like sometimes, like there was a while there where, like Buffalo Wild Wings would do, BW3s would do like fight night, And,
UFC night.
Yeah. Now they do the UFCs and the MMAs.
Sure.
Where they would do fight night, or they would do wrestling pay-per-views. Mm-hmm. And then that went by the wayside because they're like, we're paying for it, but we're not really pulling the business in.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're, what they kind of do with this, because at least with NFL, you're basically going all day Sunday.
Yeah.
And then you get Friday or Monday night to Thursday night.
Yeah.
This is 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday. So it's kind of like
pack the place twice. I mean.
Yeah, but you can't really, you know what I mean? Like, you can't give 2 days to one sport.
Well, I don't know. Pick a day. I don't know, but I think if you're going to establish it, you got to establish it with fun, right? People have to want to go have something fun to do with it. I mean, watching it at home is good and it's great, but the NFL's been around almost 150 years. So they're well established. If you're starting out, I would want to make it. If I was the XFL, I would partner with BW3s. I would set aside maybe money for drink specials where the XFL maybe even gives away dollar beers or something. I don't know. Something to get your league out there, get people to come to the bars and watch the games and start to enjoy them.
Yep.
I don't know. Just my 2 cents.
But yeah. So,
Yep.
So we need Buffalo Wild Wings nights.
Yes, I think so.
And then, but I think we definitely need fantasy football. Like, it's just
fantasy football
to
be
bring
huge.
Everybody in together, just to start learning names.
Sure, and you could even incorporate those leagues into BW3 nights and stuff like that. You could have leagues at BW3s.
Right.
All you need is 8 guys.
8 teams?
Yeah, might as well. 8-team leagues. Why not?
You just get a team, or you have to.
I think you'd have to start off with team because a lot of these guys are going to start rolling over soon. You're gonna, unless they're really established players like PJ, who's already established himself early. Yeah. So.
All right. So where can you find us? You can find us on the internet at our website www.4midwestguys.com.
Yep.
You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/4midwestguys. 4_Midwest_guys on Instagram.
Yep.
You can find Be Willie. Where are you at on Instagram?
Well, no, we search for YouTube. So if you're on
Instagram,
YouTube, you're on Instagram
at ankZONE.
Yep.
So for my show, I'm on ankZONE. I'm trying to remember all the different ones we got here. We got YouTube. You have to search us so far. We don't have 100 subscribers yet. We're working on it. We're close. We're like halfway there.
We're getting there.
Our Facebook page is skyrocketing with likes and subscribes. So thanks for that.
Yes.
Just make sure you're doing it also on
YouTube,
so we can get our own YouTube actual channel. Twitter, we got the @4MidwestGuys, me at ankZONE, and you at
BWillie1977.
All right, we got our phone line, 859-363-5952. You can call and leave us a voicemail.
Yep, and if we like it, we'll put it on air.
Yeah, we'll put you on air, make you famous.
Yep.
Also, if you have any suggestions, stuff we need to do, some of the critiques we had from last week's show was, you guys need to have some stuff that's actually XFL. So we actually got some stuff that was XFL. You guys need to stick out from the backgrounds.
Okay, there you go.
We're red. From the backgrounds.
See how fat I am.
Yeah.
Watch it fly.
So, we are taking your guys' critiques to heart and trying to make the show better. You can email us at 4midwestguys@gmail.com.
Yep.
And you can find us on TuneIn, Spotify, iPod, Podbean, Stitcher, YouTube, iHeartRadio. We're up there with the big dogs. You can find us on iHeartRadio.
Yep, audio only.
Audio only on those,
but yeah.
Even still, you can still find us there, which is at least like I didn't even fathom when we started this years ago podcasting that we would be on iHeartRadio with
or Spotify.
Or on any of those with like the major radio stations and everybody else, major podcasts.
Podcasts are huge right now at the golden age, my friend. Golden age.
So with that, thanks for having me over here again at the Erlanger Studios.
You're more than welcome always to be here at the Erlanger Studios. Thank you for having me on your show once again.
Oh, no problem.
The ankZONE Show.
The ankZONE Show, the show about nothing, everything, and anything in between. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace. later.